Why are you at Western Piedmont Community College? Why did you come here?
So I used to go to Drum High School, and they had like a little program set up for us where we could start our junior year and be able to finish our senior. Unfortunately, I couldn't do the junior year, so I did the senior, and I've got one more year left. So it's just a little bit of help on my schooling.
I had been planning on like buying a house. And so with that turnaround of not having a job anymore, everybody told me right now is the perfect time to finish your education. And so that's really what I've been focusing on. Instead of buying a house, I'm using every bit of my funding personally to continue and focus only on school.
So I have been chipping away and working at reaching my goal for many years. And it's become frustrating at times, but the faculty, the staff, and I have to give a shout out to Dr. Anne-Marie McNeely. I came to meet with her about just taking a few classes, kind of getting back in the swing of things, and she inspired me. And I've not stopped. So even in the pandemic, I did a full-time load. And Western Piedmont's been great for me because of like work-life school balance. I have a daughter that lives in Raleigh. I got her through school, through 4 years of college, graduated. She's married now. I've got a new grandbaby. And then my youngest daughter, I got her graduated from Freedom, class of 2020. She's up at Appalachian. And so I just felt like it was a good time for me. Like it was time for mom now.
Well, I was homeschooled, and so the thought of going into college was really scary because I didn't really have a direction of what I wanted to do. I knew I really liked doing art, again, like you, I have to shout out to Mark Petit over the art department. He really helped me just find a direction, and now I know that I couldn't see myself doing anything other than art.
I just graduated high school, and so they gave us an opportunity to take some classes at Western Piedmont. And so since I am first generation in my family, I had no idea what I was doing. And taking on these classes, I was kind of scared because I didn't know if I was going to succeed in them. But actually, the Western Piedmont classes were really nice, and I really enjoyed the professors. And they really teach me that anything is possible as long as you put your mind to it.
What's been the biggest challenge, or what was the biggest challenge, getting into or continuing your education?
Continuing has been for me because of working multiple jobs at times and then being a single parent, and I started very early being a mother. So I've like I said, literally, I've just chipped away. I've taken a few classes, and then life happened. And then I've taken a few more classes, and life happened. But this time, no matter what life has brought, the pandemic, my father's cancer, a new grandbaby, my daughter's graduation, no matter what's happened, I just kept pushing. And I think it all comes down to the support system here at Western Piedmont, the faculty, the staff. I'm talking financial aid, student records, everything. And I think it all comes down, like to me personally, is time management. Each and every one of my instructors, they were so encouraging during the pandemic. Even when, like in January when we started, and then the pandemic started in March, it ended up to be such a smooth transition. I thought, oh no, here I've got going again. I'm doing well, like I'm totally in this 200%. And now the pandemic comes, and that I allowed that to just be more of a challenge for me. Like I will not let this stop me. I refuse. And so the instructors, the emails, stay tuned. You're going to be getting another email on Monday. If you need assistance, if you need counseling, we have all these services. The resources were available to us. And I think the encouragement too, like, okay, we're 2 weeks in the semester, we've got 14 left. Okay, we're halfway there. Let's celebrate today and let's postpone the test a couple of days. Or I'm going to give you 2 extra, a days on your midterm paper. Everyone's done so well. Little things like that when you've got work and kids and family and parents to take care of, those little things mean a lot.
Challenges for me would be going into college because I didn't know what I wanted to do at first. My goal was to help people and wanted to take care of people. So at first I started thinking about nursing, but then I started thinking about body fluids and stuff like that. So I was like, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should stick to cosmetology so I could help people with their appearance and stuff, make them feel better about themselves. So that was one of my challenges.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, like time management, and also I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
Honestly, growing up in a family of 7, and also not knowing where to go exactly because no one in my family has gone to college or into a higher education like high school. It has been a challenge because I don't know what I'm doing, and taking on some classes with Western Piedmont kind of helps me dip in and realize what classes I enjoy, such as science and math. And I will say Miss Hannah Scruggs at my high school, she is my Western Piedmont counselor. She kind of guided me where I could take classes and where I can transfer to universities. And during the pandemic, I was taking some Western Piedmont classes, and it's been a challenge because time management. And I had to help my family out because we were going through a lot during that time.
I'll say that the biggest challenges that I've had is social isolation. Like, this is the first time I've ever had online courses, and I started, like I said, in the fall, and I had a full course load at the time, and I'd already finished up all of my general education. So everything that I'm doing really is hands-on things, especially like in the engineering field. And it's been super, super difficult, I will say, doing simulation software of things that I might be doing with my hands. I'm so used to being able to actually touch and feel what I've been using in terms of motors, just really anything. And I will say that the staff here at Western Piedmont have been super helpful, and they've been understanding, but I think that we've all been under immense mental strain and anxiety. That's been a big thing that I also have been struggling with. The only way that I've actually been able to get through it is by coming to the college every day. Even though there's really no one here, having the structure system and knowing that I could still come here every day to Pfeiffer and stay in the library, even if I'm the only person here, has been the only way that I can actually focus and not procrastinate, or I would rather get up and walk around and do my dishes as opposed to sometimes sitting down.
I mean, coming back to college is not bad. The first time I sat in a class was psychology, and even then we were wearing masks inside the classroom and everything. But it was nice to meet all these different people. At first I was like, I'm gonna really hate this. I don't like people that often. But no, they turned out to be some of the coolest people, nicest people I've ever met, and so far, I had this vibe in me, when I first started here. I was like, yeah, people are gonna be mean, rude people. No, it was the complete opposite. And I guess the challenge, which for me is getting over that, that little vibe or feeling or something, just that people are gonna judge you for being 30 and going back to college. No, I saw all sorts of ages and groups of people just coming back, and it was really, really great. I love that. It's a wide variety of people coming together. You will hardly see that in a lot of places, at all. At least being so accepted and so helpful.
Yeah, I guess my challenge really was just, I think it was really self-doubt. I was like you, honestly, with the pandemic, it wasn't too hard for me because I usually kind of isolate myself to do my work, and so the hardest part for me was coming back and being around people. There was that fear of I don't know, just being first walking into the classroom, and but everyone is so nice, and once you get into the classroom, they're just so ready to learn, and the teachers are so kind, and with the art classes, I've just really found my safe haven there. Because we all just, have good conversations, and I've learned so much and discovered so much about myself, and I found it a lot easier to work with people and be around people because of the classes have kind of, made me, and I'm really thankful for that. And I understand with you, I'm second to youngest of 8 kids, so it does get a little difficult sometimes doing at home work. There's a lot of stuff going on. So it's nice to escape to the college sometimes, to be made to sit down and work.
Maybe what we did well, but what maybe could we have done better to help you build through some of that?
Like this, just anybody that can drop by on a Thursday from 12 to 1, bring a bag lunch or pick up something whatever, and just sit around and have discussions. And maybe staff members or faculty members could maybe send emails to you or whoever would be in charge of that and say, let's discuss this with the students. This is kind of going on campus, or is this time of year the holidays, or this is going on in society right now. Let's discuss this with students, and remind them that everyone's on the same page, that we're all in this together. It takes a village, and I think that may be a good thing.
I had no idea what to do. I called over here, Miss Joy literally walked me through the entire process, was really nice and caring about it. And when you think about it, like that nice and kind approach to people, and like, hey, don't be nervous about this, you know, you can make it through this. It's going to be simple. You have plenty of support here. Just reiterate that to the students that want to or need to.
Would you have shown up if somebody had not walked you through?
There's a small chance, very minuscule, but you know, I mean, like, yeah, I had better success here than I did. You know, they weren't just like, well, we need this. I'm like, well, I mean, can you throw me a bone here? Give me something, you know? I don't know any of this. But here, an hour-long conversation, and I was like, I'm sorry to take up your time, and they were super patient with every single question I had, and letting students know, or possible students for the first time, returning, anything, just, hey, we're here to help.
I mean, you get like inundated with so much information whenever you first start coming to school of like what your classes are, where everything's located, your syllabus and everything else. And I didn't really know about all of the outlets and resources that we have on campus.
Well, somebody else, what do you wish the faculty, staff knew about you that you feel like if they did would help you?
Well, I guess this is kind of a different subject, but what I've thought about is with the disability services, sometimes I think a lot of people don't think about that because they think, oh, well, you know, like I don't need anything because a lot of other people have it worse than me. And they might not even think about looking into it, myself included. You know, but a lot of people are held back because of things like anxiety or depression, and especially with the pandemic, I think maybe a lot more people could use that resource than they realize. And so because they don't go to disability services, then they have these personal issues that their teachers don't know about. And so if they're turning things in late, or they're making mistakes, small mistakes on tests, you know, and getting things wrong because they're having trouble understanding, then their teachers don't understand that. And then, you know, I think sometimes that can get a little bit messy. You know, I'm not sure how that could be fixed communication-wise.
There was all kinds of things that I think had probably been communicated, but the effectiveness of communication is just as important as trying to get something across to people. Because I know that if you hear like a constant little line of information, you can tune that out and not be aware of some of the services that we have.
I agree with that. I feel like maybe people need to know more about the resources Western Piedmont has to offer, or maybe, you know, send a couple of emails here and there just to remind people, because honestly I didn't know that there was tutors on campus that I could ask for help. And I also didn't know there was resources where you can like use computer or print out stuff. And also, you know, students can, you know, not be afraid to ask questions, you know, maybe ask like, hey, you know, I have a question for this program, is there someone I can contact to? Mm-hmm. And that really helps out someone, because honestly, you know, going into nursing, there's so many paths and there's so many options. And just knowing that I have a safe plan and where to go, you know, based on what people are telling me and just kind of inform me, is really helpful, because it helps me feel much better about where I'm going at.
How would you want to be communicated to? What would be most effective for you? That's really kind of what I'm getting at.
Well, Miss Chapman, the head instructor over at the Cosmetology Center, she actually uses the Remind app, and that helps me a lot whenever she'll send out like just anything that we need to know for the next day, or she'll send it out in a little little text, and then we'll have it and we'll know for the next day. So,
Remind app.
Remind.
Okay, that's the one I haven't used.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard
Really?
that one before, yeah.
Or just it's like for teachers, and she'll send it out and it'll send it to everybody's phone that's in that class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably makes it
Yeah.
easier for them.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Dr. McNeely used that in my ACA class.
Yeah.
I kind of got spoiled with that because the texts come directly to me, so it doesn't
Right.
matter if I'm in the middle of something personal or with work, you know, I've got it and I'm like, oh yeah. And then it also backs up and sends you an email of the exact same information to your student email.
Yep.
Yeah, but she used that with us and it was really nice.
I feel like if people know that there's opportunities here and there's resources and there's classes they can take, they can really know where to go. You know, such as an Instagram, maybe like post a little bit more, or Facebook. I feel like that will really engage some more people. Because I feel like now in this time, everyone's more on like social media and they're just kind of like knowing information based on that. But I feel like that'd be a really good opportunity for Western Piedmont to really get their name out there.